Yo, what up, world? This is Quest, Conquest, the Loch Ness Monsters have now been renamed. I'm actually out here in Park Slope. We just came from Jai-Rockin' Studios, knocking out another session for my upcoming album. Outside of that, though, one thing I wanted to speak on is this new thing that started since January 11th, if I'm not mistaken, called the Christian Hip Hop Alliance. Which I personally think is a godsend. I know that's something that I've prayed and wished for years. I've had conversations with Marcus Hall about it. I've had conversations with Pastor Pagani, Alexander Pagani, about it. And to see it actually come into fruition as of 2014 is phenomenal. It's super needed. Other major cities that does Christian hip-hop music or urban Christian music have conferences like Legacy Conference in Chicago, Flavor Fest in Florida, and other places I could probably mention. But New York, being as big as it is and as diverse as it is, and with the roster of talent that we have from New York, and just the different camps and factions, we need to come together. Social media is not the place for you to understand what your other fellow artist, brother or sister is going through. A show that you happen to chop it up with that person for 5 minutes is not a great, place or the perfect place for you to get an understanding of what that brother's going through, how his family is, how his life is. So it's cool that for at least 2 hours we can conjugate at 244 West 144th Street in Harlem, and 25 or more people can sit down and have a thorough discussion about the things that affect us as believers, that affect us as artists, that affects us as urban missionaries, that affect us as people, I've had people come to me after meetings and was like, yo, I didn't even know you had a autistic stepson at one point. I didn't know you were married, or, I learned certain things about other brothers in Christ and sisters in Christ that I didn't necessarily know before. I think that actually sitting with people and hearing people's hearts rather than just going off of maybe a Facebook status or a Twitter post that we might put up is a better gauge to getting an understanding of what the next person may go through. It's a chance to hear each other out on different issues. It's a chance to pray for each other. It's a chance to fellowship afterwards. It's a chance to really get to know the other brother in your circle that you do ministry with. Even if you're not in the same group, even if you're not signed to the same label, even if you don't necessarily believe exactly how that person believes about Jesus, it still brings people together so that a conversation could happen. And a lot of times, conflicts and all kinds of issues happen to arise because people don't talk, or if we do talk, we talk very passive aggressively, or we talk through a laptop or a keypad rather than talk to each other. Even in Matthew 18 verse 15, it talks about if there's an issue with your brother, bring it to that person, and a lot of times I think we avoid those opportunities to bring it to that person, man to man or woman to woman. We kind of shrug it off. We say underneath comments, and then when we see them in person, we don't even take the opportunity. We say, God bless you, how you doing, how's your album, and we don't really talk outside of that. So hopefully, I pray that the Christian Hip Hop Alliance, generates more genuine relationships and friendships and fellowship amongst each other, the people that come. I hope it helps us build better as missionaries so that we can affect the greater New York City area and beyond. I hope it also encourages us to sharpen each other as being better ministers and better people of God, period. And I'm very impressed with what has happened in these last 2 months, January and February. Shout out to Marcus Hall for helping to spearhead this whole movement with that. Shout out to Jay Skywalker, aka Joel Farmer, who's done a really great job at facilitating a lot of these meetings. Shout out to everybody who showed up so far: Slave, Gage, Malachi the Truth, Noah the Governor, Tara Francis, even my homegirl Trini, who's down with Apple Jackson. That whole movement came through from Boston one time. Shout out to Chris Rock Belmont from Jai-Rockin'. He was there one time. My homeboy Randy, who's like my mentee. And everybody else who came through, Courtney, Geez, so many names I could just rattle off. Richard Dolphin. A lot of people came through, and also I think there's still some key people who haven't come through yet who need to come through, because I feel like this is a place where leaders, rappers, especially those who've been doing it for a while, can come through and impart knowledge for each other that, say, somebody who's just starting could probably use, you know, because I know when I first started, I didn't know everything, and it was a lot of trial and error. So I'm glad that after maybe doing this professionally for a decade, I can speak to the person that's now getting into ministry music-wise and getting their feet wet. I can say, hey, do this, don't do this. You know, make sure you're in a church, make sure you got people above you, make sure you have good fellowship, make sure you have good counsel around you. So yeah, man, it's an amazing thing. So again, if you can come out, again, it's the New York City Christian Hip Hop Alliance. We meet, I think, every second Saturday of the month. So the first one was, I believe, January 11th. The next one is February 8th. So if we stay on that schedule, the next one will be probably March 8th. But, you know, check your social networks. We'll give you a proper date. And we meet at 24, or rather, I'm sorry, I keep saying 24, 244 West 144th Street in Harlem, at the school. And yeah, man, just keep it locked, man. Just look it up, and you know, if you're interested, holler at us. Twitter, Radical on Fire. Kingdom Time Media, that's on Twitter, Instagram. You know, we'll get the word out, and you should definitely be there if you're involved and want to see the whole Christian music scene grow as far as like New York is concerned. Definitely.